Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for clicking. If it means a lot to you guys, keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today I want to talk about this interview that Jeff Probst did about a month ago around the end of season 42 with Entertainment Weekly, where he talks about the future of Survivor and more specifically season 43. And I think he might have given away a little too much info here, because we know a lot about how 43, 44, and seasons beyond will work, including twists that will come back, twists that are not coming back, and also the format for how the show will be filmed. Tons of new info, and I think this video will be really helpful to all of us to really get used to how Survivor will be in the future. As always, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff because it's free, it's easy, and it really helps the channel out. And that's it, let's get right into the video. So the first big piece of info that is revealed in this interview is the fact that the on-location winner announcements are here to stay. Now, the reunions, as far as them going back to normal, that is still a possibility, but the on-location winner announcements are definitely here to stay, just because you never know when COVID may spike up and they all of a sudden can't do a winner announcement, and that's a big deal because they can't just change when the finale airs. So I think it's a safe decision. I still think that they could have done it off location. And really, for me, the more important thing is just not doing the reunion on location, because like watching Mike just stare into the distance and be depressed for about an hour while the jury tells him that he almost won the game, he was this close, like that's just not fun. That's cruel, and it's also not really enjoyable to watch. So I really prefer doing reunions how they've always been done, which allows the players to understand how the public is reacting and why, based off of the edit and the finished product of the season on TV. That's just my personal opinion. The second big piece of info that was released from this interview was the fact that small tribes earning the merge, no food, and the risk/reward dilemmas, as well as the shot in the dark, are all here to stay for the upcoming few seasons. So this is a lot of info. I'm going to kind of break it down one by one and give my opinion on it. So the first thing is small tribes. This means most seasons will probably have 3 or maybe even 4 tribes, depending on how ballsy the show wants to get. I like this. I really don't like starting out with 2 big tribes, because especially at the merge, if one tribe has a lot of numbers, no matter how many swaps there were, for example, like Ghost Island, it's just so hard to flip if it's like 3 versus 9. You know, it's so hard to flip the game. Whereas if it's 3 tribes, it doesn't matter how much is on one tribe, the other 2 tribes can come together. So it allows for a more fluid post-merge. The second one being the earn the merge thing. I'm not a big fan of that. Now, I think they're going to do something different, obviously, because they can't do the hourglass twist again. That would be stupid. And also the public has not reacted well to it. So I think earning the merge could be good in some circumstances, but the hourglass twist is just not, it's just simply not it. The third thing is no food, which I personally hate. I know that they're doing it because it's 26 days and they feel like it would be too easy if there was just the same amount of food as they have on a regular season. But I think the big thing for me is, why would you starve the players? It makes them less energized and therefore makes the gameplay less interesting, because the players don't have energy to play super hard. Do you think Tony would be playing as hard as he did and being as entertaining as he was, making all the spy, shuttles and shacks and all that, if he had no food in the system? Of course not. And so I think you're not giving the players a fair opportunity to be characters in the first place. The fourth one, risk reward dilemmas. I like this. I like the players having the choices to either make their games or ruin their games, because it gives them free choice. It involves less production interference on top of that, with the players being the one who really get to make or break their games, instead of like weird twists coming in and just ruining a player's game and they have no opportunity to solve that. The fifth one is the shot in the dark saying. I like that as well. I think the shot in the dark is a very balanced mechanic. We've seen it's been balanced because it has not been overpowered at all. In fact, some people are calling for it to be buffed in a way and be more powerful. I think it's great how it is now. I think it leads to boring pre-merge votes in which the entire majority is basically just 5-1 against somebody. It adds another element of, oh, maybe this person may get safe for their shot in the dark, so that production doesn't have to lie to us and say, well, maybe it's this other person that it obviously is not going to be. So I really like the idea that the shot in the dark stays in the game. I think it's a very balanced mechanic, and it makes pre-merge vote-outs that are not very fun to watch interesting to watch to an extent. Probst goes on to say that they're trying to build a new foundation for this era, similar to how, the past era had things that the players knew would be there and were preparing for. They want the players to prepare for the things that I just said that will be there every single season. But he also said that new twists will come and go as always. So it seems like they're trying to create a new era of Survivor artificially, which I'm not really a big fan of. I think eras kind of create themselves. You just make the show and the people will decide where the era switch, or you'll get a player that's super revolutionary, like for an example Russell Hantz, who like creates a new era on his own. I think trying to create an era on your own as the show and doing it feels kind of forced, and it also does kind of interfere with how the game ought to be run. I think the game should be run pretty consistently with new twists coming in every once in a while that don't really screw over players that much. It seems like they're trying to artificially make a new era out of something that doesn't really need to be a new era, which, I mean, obviously if they're going to do it, hopefully the twists aren't too egregious, but I do think that's a serious issue with how the show is being run at this current point. The things that I'm most interested in is, one, the return of the shot in the dark, because I think that mechanic is something that honestly could stay until Survivor eventually goes out and completely goes away. I think that mechanic is genius, and it is something that doesn't feel too gimmicky, that you really could keep for the entire history of Survivor moving forward. On top of that, I'm very excited for the smaller tribes. I mean, in the past, when you look at the seasons that had, for example, 3 tribes, you got Philippines, you have All Stars, you have Cagayan, you have Korong, like, I feel like all these seasons to me share one thing, and it's the fact that the gameplay was so fluid in all of these seasons. I think it can lead to more post-merge alliances, meaning more than pre-merge alliances. Obviously, the return of the 26 days is not a good thing, but I think if you're going to do it, then doing 3 tribes is definitely the way to go for sure. And as far as the importance overall for 43, I think 43 and 44 are make it break it. If both these seasons suck, then the best case scenario is that Survivor's in the dark ages right now, very similar to from seasons to 21 to 24 where it sucked also. So to me, the best thing that could happen is that both of these seasons are good. By good, I mean at least as good as 42. I think 42 is a pretty good bar. 42 to me is like probably a top 20 to 15 season. If it's better than 42, then it's an objectively good to great season. If it's worse, then it's average at best. So I think this season does have a lot riding on it for sure. But what do you think of these twists? What do you think of this new era? And how do you think Survivor 43 will go? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, none of this happens without you guys. Without you guys, I'm just a weird guy speaking a weird microphone. So as always, thank you. And if that's it, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.